So Arizona Game and Fish says they are getting more and more calls about people feeding wildlife in their neighborhoods. And it's happening here in the valley and all across the state.
Yeah, and it may sound like it's pretty harmless. You see they're hungry, you want to do something about it, but wildlife officials are saying don't do that. You're disturbing them. 12 News journalist Justin Pizzera live for us in Phoenix this morning. He actually spoke with Game and Fish officials about why this isn't good. Not only that for the wildlife, Justin, but also people could end up facing fines.
They could face some fines, and it really is not good for the wildlife because they said that basically we are getting these animals accustomed to thinking that humans are going to give them food, and then they get comfortable being around people, and then that's when things can really escalate and get quite dangerous. So it is illegal to feed wildlife in Maricopa, Pinal, and Pima counties. State law does kick in when a county has a population over 280,000 people. But some counties and some cities, they do have their own rules. Even if it's not illegal, though, Game and Fish says you really shouldn't do it because it is not good for these animals. And just a little refresher, back in 2023, there were two pretty big incidents where a coyote bit a couple of boys in Scottsdale, and then at the end of the year, 5 different people in about a 5-day span were bit in North Phoenix around Happy Valley and the I-17. And each one of those, Game and Fish did track down the animals that attacked those folks, but it all traced back to people feeding them.
Both the offending animals each time based on the DNA that we collected from some of the victims' clothing and stuff, though. But the reality is, we don't, unless someone says that that coyote had, a purple spot on its hind leg or something identifying marker, we're going to continue removal until the behavior is changed, and we did that in both cases. So essentially, by feeding this coyote or these coyotes, essentially signed their death warrant.
So Game and Fish says that they do operate on a 3-strike rule. If they do get a complaint, they're going to send a letter to that neighbor, then they're going to get a written warning, and then they could get a $300 fine. They said that most people do stop once they get that letter, but I asked, do people refuse? And they said that there are some cases. There's one case where a woman in a rural part of Arizona just refuses to stop feeding the elk. She's been fined about 4 or 5 times, but she still believes that it's worth it to keep feeding the animals. But Game and Fish says, even though you think you're helping, you actually are doing more harm. Ladies.
Okay, and Justin, this is, Allison just broke this down to me, but I'd love if you would explain it too. When you feed like the cute little ones, it goes up the food chain, right? You're not just really feeding them.
Right. That's what Game and Fish said. You got to think about when you feed that little bunny, you're feeding the entire food chain because what's going to prey on the bunny? Well, maybe a coyote. So the next thing you know, you've got coyotes in your yard. And I asked about the elk, and that's an extreme case. If you're in parts of Arizona, they said the one thing that's going to take down an elk, a mountain lion, possibly a bear, depending on where you're at in Arizona. So you don't want mountain lions, you don't want bears in your yard. But they said that these animals are very keen on that, and they know where their prey is at. So, it just keeps snowballing into all of these issues. So they say just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
You don't think about it at that time, but you do have to think down the line that bigger food is going to come. Okay, Justin, thank you so much.